helper, and this is one role model. How do you balance all that? Because first of all, being a wife on its
tomorrow comes with its own responsibility.
Maybe you can interview both of them.
Was it a struggle because you say you had no training?
It was a struggle at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't say no, you're going to burn out. And when you burn out, you know what? God is taking me somewhere. Maybe it's time to say, you know what? I see your struggle.
Many times my relationship with the pastor will not be good. And
I sometimes think of try to get everybody into that one solution. My cousin and thought it was so his brother
singles.
We talk. I work in my salary is 6 figures, so now you can buy it, and maybe down the line you pray about your future husband or wife if you're not ready to submit to God's will.
Yeah. Even atheists, no way. So
begotten son, the only child, because of you, right? And a time came later towards the end of my high school year that I got to go to a Pentecostal church because
and he said he was ordained. He did not shy away from that. And
God said, do this. God called my husband. Yes. I remember I was still in Nigeria.
And then now here you were in Nigeria.
Let's,
or maybe even they're from another church and their husband is from. It happened actually to one of my cousins.
He does. He always does. He got me to a stage where possession.
Oh my goodness.
So I have a choice to either conveniently sit down and feel the love of Jesus give me something I can't receive it. So I have to give.
Well, you wish you had witnessed in person. So if you were to turn back,
but I wasn't that well acquainted right now, right? So 2018, towards the end, God just said, I read a few of the write-ups in my book. So yeah, so I count that as send me an email.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Heart to Heart with Alberta Muembo. My name is Alberta Muembo. Welcome to the first interview on this project. So today I have with me a special guest, and her name is Mrs. Olawumi Oyetuga. I am just going to read some of the things I wrote about her, but these are the things that me and my siblings have agreed on. We believe that Mrs. Oyetuga is a virtuous woman. She is also the owner of a daycare. She's a nurse by profession, and she's an author. Yes, I have one of her books here. I'm going to share it on our social media platforms. She wrote this book in both English and French, so there's a French copy for those of us who are French speakers. You can have one copy. I will put the link down below on how you can get this. One of the things that I love about this book is that Mrs. Oyetuga, she articulates her experiences in a way that is easy to comprehend and it's relatable. So if you have a copy, or when you get a copy, you turn to page 91. It's my favorite topic. It's about being a woman. Who is a woman? What does being a woman mean to Mrs. Oyetuga? And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's also another part in this same chapter about the definition of a woman that talks about striving to be who you are not. This sounds very familiar to me because, especially in high school, I was striving to be who I was not. I think it happens to most of us. So I love the fact also that she also quotes the Bible in this. As a Christian, I found it to be very instrumental just in my way of. So I hope you enjoy this interview. Thank you for watching. Will you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you, Alberta. Well, what else do I add? You've done a great job of introducing me. Like she said, my first name is Olawumi, and I'm married to my husband Jide, so I'm Olawumi Oyetuga by that virtue. And we live in Saskatoon, blessed with 3 children, all girls. And some of the things that I do, she's already mentioned them. Being a pastor's wife, I always say about myself first that I'm first a daughter of the King, and I'm talking about the King of Kings, I'm talking about Jesus. And everything else that I do, whether as a nurse, with a daycare, as a business, with the church community, women's fellowship, children's fellowship, or anything that I do in Saskatoon altogether, is driven by the fact that I have Jesus in me to do those things. Because naturally, I will still say that I'm a shy person and I prefer to be in the back seat. I prefer to operate from the background. But a couple of years back, someone was sharing something about herself and about how the fact that she loved to be in the background until one day God said to her, your name is Esther. You were created for times like this. You can't hide in the background to do things like that. And I always remember the VeggieTales series. It's the children's Christian show that had the story of Esther. And the intro said something about some people were born great, and some have greatness just thrust upon them, and they just had no choice but to rise up to the occasion. So when I think about myself, I see that. And by the way, my middle name unofficially is Esther. So
there you go.
So that drove home the point for me, and that's where I am today and doing the things that I'm doing.
Amen. Thank you so much. Now, you've mentioned several things. How do you balance all that? Because first of all, being a wife on its own, it's a huge responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
Now, being a pastor's wife, you're now the mother of all the church. That's another responsibility on its own.
True.
That's a leadership responsibility. And you've not only helped Christians, you've helped also other people from other religions that I have met on campus. So how do you balance all that?
That's a very good question, because there was a stage of my life that I was under that pressure of there is too much to do. And with so little time and so little resources. And I remember once I was writing something about my plate is full, but somehow I find when I'm complaining about this plate is full, God somehow adds one more thing to it. And then I'll be like, God, there's too much to do already. Why are you bringing this up? Can we put it on the shelf? And I will get that nudging that, no, you have to do it now. And one day God just said to me, yes, your plate is full, but guess who's holding the plate? I am. So how do I balance it? I always remember that. And I always say, you know what, God, right now physically, there's too much to do, but you've assured me that you are the one holding my plate. So however full that plate gets, I have that confidence that nothing will fall off it. So how do I balance it? Sincerely, I can't say this is a strategy or 5 points or what to do to balance it. But I take one day at a time. God taught me that take one day at a time. What you have to do today, do it. Don't leave it till tomorrow. Tomorrow comes with its own responsibilities.
That's true. And has it always been like that in your life, like before even you got married, or it started after your marriage?
I think it's a combination of both. There was a time that I was the planner. So 3 months down the line, everything has to be written out. Actually, the school that our girls, it's a private school here in Saskatoon, Grace Christian School. The principal mentioned to me that you are the one that's always asking for the school supply list first. Like, I'm asking for school supply list by June, July. And it's like, go enjoy your summer. And I'm like, I just have to plan ahead. But a stage came where I realized planning ahead is not the solution. Depending on God for each day, for what to do each season of my life as a woman.
Yay!
Okay. We're recording a video. I know. Will you go that way?
Hi.
Yeah. Thank you, baby. Okay, go back to daddy.
Maybe you can interview both of them.
Oh my God. Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
It's
That
part
was pleasant.
That's good.
It's pleasant. Changes the atmosphere.
Okay, so I talked about maybe my phone will ring, but phone did not ring.
Baby
but somebody showed up. So that's my life, like. So now I have to think, what was the question? Taking one day at a time, doing what I can do today and not leave it till tomorrow, and just also figuring out what's my priority. Like, what's the thing that I need to do now? What are the things that can wait?
Was, if you've always been this busy even before you were married, if it has always been the same.
Life before marriage was busy as in a single person, involved in every church activity. right?
Oh, wow.
And then on my job, and then just catching up with family and friends. So that was that busy for that season of my life. Then getting married. A year after we got married, my husband relocated here. So it was busy mostly with work. And then I had our first baby back at home in Nigeria. And it was just the normal busy mommy life. Then I came to Canada. I always say I walked into being a pastor's wife because the church was already functioning for a period of time before I arrived. So I arrived into pre-planned, preconceived, like, hey, here she comes, pastor's wife, do this, do that. And I had no training about what,
Oh, you had no training? Oh, wow.
No, both of us had no training. So when the church started, he was asked to pastor the church. And well, we're Christians, we believe in Jesus, you pray, you fast. You just go as the Lord leads you and carry people along. But there's always that preconceived and that stereotype of who a pastor should be, what a pastor's wife should do. So we had to deal with all of that at the beginning. Stuff like, oh, you're the pastor's wife, you should be here, you should be there. And it's like you're all over the place trying to please everybody, trying to do everything, and not knowing if this is really my role. Can someone else do it? Oh, no, you have to show up, you have to be there. So that happened for quite a number of years as the church was growing. And then gradually, God always sent faithful laborers into his vineyard. So as more people joined, certain things became more clearer. And we were also connected with the national body of our CCG. So we would have forums for pastors' wives or for ministers, and then started learning the ropes along the way.
Wow. So is it that at first were you able to distinguish between pleasing God and pleasing the congregation? How were you able to distinguish that, or was it a struggle because you say you had no training?
It was a struggle at the beginning because with no training, you're not really sure what, especially the ministry that you're operating under, what are their expectations for this role? When you get ordained as a deacon to the deacon's office, it will say, oh, now you can baptize, now you can do this, now you can do that. But those are just, like scratching the responsibility on the surface. There are the everyday things that will come up and you'll be like, what do I do in this situation? And some would happen like right there and there that all the prayer you can quickly pray is, God, please guide me, right? So you're not sure if what you're doing, is right or not. But along the line, just like on our jobs that we're trained for, you get experience.
That's true.
You get experience, and then with God guiding you too, because spiritual experience comes mostly from God's guidance. So you remember, oh, what did God do in this situation? And then you can apply it to the current situation. And I think another thing that I picked up along the line is learning how to say no. It was a struggle, but at the stage of my life, I realized, you know what? If you don't say no, you're going to burn out. And when you burn out, you are of no use to yourself, to your family, and to the congregation. So big lesson, learn how to say no. And I think that applies to everyone, not just pastors' wives.
And did that impact relationships? Because some people can take no for an answer. Some people are in the congregation because they want things their way. And when you say no, they either leave the church or...
I think it's a lesson we all learn as we grow older. And like I said, I think I said something about seasons of life. There are certain seasons that let some people go.
And did you feel guilty, like,
at the beginning? At the beginning, you feel like, was it what I said? Was it how I said it? Maybe if I didn't say it, they would stay. In my mother tongue, there's a way we say it that the eyes that will stay with you in your old age will not, when you're young, start giving you problems. So sometimes you have to apply stuff like that to say, you know what? God is taking me somewhere. God is taking this ministry somewhere. Is it possible that the same set of people that, are here now will be there 20 years from now? Sometimes some people have to go. Sometimes some people have to go and come back. But it's always a difficult decision when that time comes because you second guess yourself. What did I do wrong? Why are they leaving? Is it my fault? And that's just the normal human nature. But then if you're holding on to things you're supposed to let go of, then you're not helping yourself. You're not helping yourself and you're not helping them. Because maybe God has prepared another platform for them somewhere else where their talents, let's say, might be put to better use. And you are restricting them from manifesting that. So I always, when stuff like that comes up, whether even in friendship, not even church, friendship or relationship, or even let's say business, you've got a staff and you've realized that this relationship is not going well. Like maybe it's time to part ways. Maybe it's time to say, you know what, I see you're struggling. What's going on? If, I went through nursing school here in Saskatoon. And I know along the way, there were some people that dropped out because they figured out this is not for me. So if the school insists that, no, stay there, you have to finish your 4-year program, then you're going to end up with nursing students that will be making medical errors, that will be doing stuff that will affect someone else's health. So that same principle applies everywhere. If it's time to leave, the most important thing is that you part on good terms. Love, you cannot neglect that. Show that you love, you care, empathize. Never end on argument or fighting. Never.
Wow, and this is not just in every pastor will explain the way you're saying. And just to explain or to back up what you just explained, I was at a friend's funeral. I lost a friend to cancer, and I saw you and Daddy sitting in front. And one thing that her husband said when he started the church, they didn't have, I think, is it a pianist or someone?
Yeah, someone to play the keyboard.
And you gave them one of yours. I was very touched by that because nowadays within the church, pastors are competing who has the best worship team. When my friend's husband was saying that, I was very touched. And that's why also I was really motivated that I need to interview you. And this is why I say she's a role model, not just herself, but also Pastor Jide himself is a role model.
If I may add, what I think the issue is when maybe people want to leave is pastors are shepherds. I sometimes think of them as the mother hen. Like they want everybody together. So it's kind of so when issues come up, they're first thinking of, let's keep everybody together in unity. But unity does not always mean that we're all speaking the same language. Unity sometimes would mean that I've decided that my language is different, but I want to follow what you are saying because I see that you are the leader for now, and I think God is taking us somewhere with what you have. So I'm going to put my own ideas down for now, and let's follow this one and wait for the time that my idea will be a good idea to bring forward. So sometimes it's not an easy job leading a church, leading a ministry,
at all.
Because God brings to you, someone said the other day that a church is like a hospital. So everybody comes with different situations. So we're all coming to church and we all have different needs, both spiritual, physical, meant in every way. We all have different needs, and there is no one solution that will cover everybody. But sometimes we try to get everybody into that one solution. And when the time comes that one solution is not working anymore, we have to be sensitive to that fact that keeping this person here is actually limiting their spiritual growth. If God has told them to move on, bless them and release them.
Wow.
They are God's people anyway. They're not your people. So
Wow. Thank you so much.